What if the question we have all been circling around for the last 2 years is finally impossible to avoid? Not whether Chinese EVs are catching up. That question is already outdated. Not whether BMW still knows how to build a driver's car. We know it does. The real question now is whether a new Chinese electric SUV can already be so complete, so fast charging, so polished, and so premium feeling that it genuinely puts pressure on an all-new BMW built on a totally new 800-volt architecture. Because that is exactly what this battle is. The new BMW iX3 Neue Klasse is not just another BMW launch, it is the first real production strike of the Neue Klasse era, the product that is supposed to show the world what BMW's next decade looks like. And sitting across from it is the Zeekr 7X, a car that does not arrive apologetically or as some budget outsider. It arrives with serious charging numbers, serious power, serious range, a visibly premium interior strategy, and exactly the kind of confidence that makes buyers ask an uncomfortable question. If BMW has rebuilt the rulebook, why does the Zeekr already feel like it has read it? This is why I think this is one of the most important EV comparisons of 2026. Because it is no longer enough for legacy brands to say, wait until our next platform. BMW now has the next platform. It now has the next architecture, the new battery format, the new display logic, the new superbrain electronic structure, the new charging promise, the new dynamic control philosophy, the whole thing. So if the Zeekr still makes sense next to that, then we are looking at something much bigger than one model battle. We are looking at a structural shift in the market. We are looking at the moment when a buyer who used to assume BMW had to be the smarter long-term premium choice now pauses and says, maybe not automatically. Maybe the decision is harder. Maybe the new Chinese SUV is no longer a curiosity. Maybe it's just a rival. And that is exactly the tension I want to explore here. Not BMW versus China as a slogan, BMW versus Zeekr as a real-world buying dilemma. Let's begin with the price, because the price frames the whole emotional argument before the car even moves. The new BMW iX3 is officially priced in the UK from £53,250 on the road. If you step into the iX3 xDrive in Germany, BMW is asking from €70,900. Zeekr, meanwhile, currently lists the 7X in Europe from €54,990, which works out at roughly £47,900, using the ECB reference rate I mentioned. So right away, the old assumption that a premium European badge will obviously sit above the Chinese alternative in pricing, but below it in risk, no longer feels clean. The Zeekr is not entering as a half-price disruptor. It is entering as a serious premium class contender that still undercuts the BMW in many like-for-like market perceptions, even if direct trim-to-trim comparisons remain messy across countries. That matters, because once the newcomer is close enough in price to be taken seriously, but still cheap enough to make buyers hesitate, the burden shifts. Now BMW has to explain what the extra money really buys. And that, to be fair, is a very strong place for BMW to start. Because the iX3's technical story is not ordinary. Official BMW material is very explicit that this is 6th-generation BMW eDrive, that it brings cylindrical cells with higher energy density, cell-to-pack battery construction, pack-to-open-body structural integration, and an 800-volt system designed to increase charging speed by roughly 30% over the last generation. On the iX3 xDrive, BMW quotes 345 kilowatts, or 469 horsepower, 645 newton-meters, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.9 seconds, and a usable battery capacity of 108.7 kilowatt-hours. Then you get the headline, up to 805 kilometers WLTP, or up to 500 miles depending on the market page. This is not BMW doing a light refresh. This is BMW throwing a technological marker into the ground and saying this is the new baseline. That matters, because if you are buying the iX3, you are not just buying an SUV, you are buying the beginning of BMW's next chapter. But where the BMW becomes especially interesting is not just in range and charging, but in how obsessively it connects those things to driving identity. BMW is not content with saying the iX3 is efficient and fast. It wants to make the case that the whole vehicle thinks and reacts in a more BMW-like way. That is where the Heart of Joy control unit enters the conversation. Officially, this superbrain manages drivetrain, brakes, recuperation, and steering functions, processes data up to 10 times faster than conventional systems, and allows smoother responses, more direct reactions, and more integrated energy recovery. BMW even says that around 98% of everyday braking maneuvers are handled using recuperation alone, without friction braking. That tells you the iX3 is trying to do something many EVs still struggle with. It is trying to make the technology disappear into the flow of the drive rather than feel like separate systems negotiating with each other. If BMW has nailed that, then the iX3 could feel not just quick and polished, but genuinely engineered in that old BMW sense, where the deeper excellence reveals itself through integration. Now look at the Zeekr 7X, and this is where the conversation stops being comfortable for the old guard. Because the Zeekr is not trying to out-BMW in the dynamic philosophy department. It is trying to make the whole buying argument broader and more immediately impressive. Official Zeekr material gives you an 800-volt high-voltage system, up to 475 kilowatts and 646 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds in all-wheel drive form, up to 615 kilometers WLTP in the long-range rear-wheel drive trim, and a 10 to 80 charging time, quoted at as little as 13 minutes on some pages, or 16 minutes in the trim comparison on the main product page. There is also a clear effort to market the 7X as more than a spec monster. Zeekr talks about premium materials, curated interiors, a European design team in Gothenburg, and a product that adapts intuitively to life. In other words, it is not just saying, look how fast our charger is. It is saying, look how complete our product already feels. And that is what makes it dangerous. This is where the "is the Chinese SUV now better?" question has to be answered carefully, because better is not one thing. If better means the most impressive visible EV hardware for the money, Zeekr has a brutally strong argument. Faster official charging, more dramatic official acceleration in ABD form, a long-range rear-wheel drive version that still gives you over 600 kilometers WLTP, a 2,000-kilogram towing figure, available active air suspension, a very aggressive warranty story with up to 5 years standard, plus another 5 years through recommended servicing, plus 8 years on the battery. That is not a weak value proposition trying to climb upward. That is a premium proposition trying to prove it already belongs. And if you are the kind of buyer who reads the spec sheet first and asks why the established brand costs more, Zeekr makes the old habits of brand loyalty much harder to defend lazily. But if better means deeper brand discipline, cleaner dynamic philosophy, and the confidence that the whole machine was engineered around one long-standing set of values, BMW still has very serious weapons. The iX3 is not just fast charging and long range. It is also built around BMW Panoramic iDrive, BMW Operating System X, AI-enabled route guidance, digital upgrades, integrated driver assistance logic, and a user experience that tries to preserve what BMW sees as its core principle: hands on the wheel, eyes on the road. The cockpit itself is a statement. Panoramic vision stretched across the base of the windscreen, a free-cut central display, optional three-dimensional head-up display, Shy-Tech steering wheel controls, over-the-air software, and a much more deeply integrated information architecture than before. This is BMW trying to move luxury forward without surrendering the idea of driver primacy. The Zeekr, in contrast, while it does offer physical controls for key functions and a strong overall tech package, feels more like a premium EV designed to impress through completeness. BMW feels like a premium EV designed to prove a theory about the future of the driver's car. That difference matters. Inside, the contrast is just as important. Zeekr's official product pages are full of language about premium finishes, striking color schemes, massage, ventilation, power adjustment, physical buttons for easier operation, and a spacious, welcoming, family-oriented cabin. It is trying to create a premium atmosphere that feels expensive quickly. The trunk is quoted at 539 liters. The dimensions are generous, and the interior mood is clearly part of the sales pitch. BMW goes in a slightly different direction. It is premium, yes, but in a more conceptual way. The iX3 feels like a cabin built to demonstrate a new information philosophy. Even details like the optional panoramic roof, climate comfort glass, 3D head-up display, and free-cut screen design all speak to a product that is trying to redefine how a BMW interior works. This is a crucial difference. The Zeekr may win some buyers faster on material atmosphere and straightforward premium punch. The BMW may win others over time because the whole environment feels more deeply thought through from a driver use perspective. In other words, Zeekr feels rich, BMW feels deliberate. Those are not the same thing. Practicality is another area where neither car is bluffing. The Zeekr 7X officially offers 539 liters of luggage space, a 2,000 kilogram towing capacity across the compared trims on its product page, and a family-focused interior packaging story. BMW answers with 520 liters of luggage space in the iX3, 1,750 liters with the rear seats folded, a front storage compartment, and a maximum trailer load of up to 2,000 kilograms for the iX3 50X drive. So on the practical SUV basics, the Zeekr is not being led into the room politely. It is already standing shoulder to shoulder with the BMW. This matters enormously because one of the last emotional refuges for premium European buyers has been the assumption that even if the newcomers look good in the brochure, the daily use fundamentals will still reveal the difference. In this case, the fundamentals look much closer than many people are comfortable admitting. And this is exactly why service, warranty, and long-term ownership confidence become such an important part of the verdict. Zeekr is trying to remove one of the most common arguments against Chinese brands by putting real numbers around its care structure. Up to 10 years of total warranty when serviced at recommended points, 8 years on the battery, 3 years roadside assistance. That is serious. But BMW still has a type of ownership reassurance that is harder to quantify. It has the legacy of the brand, the established dealer and service network in key markets, the fact that buyers already know what a BMW ownership journey looks like, and the feeling that if anything goes wrong, the system around the car is older and more familiar. That matters more than people on the internet sometimes admit. Buying a premium EV is not only about the first drive, it is also about the fifth winter, the second software update issue, the first minor warranty claim, and the ease or stress of dealing with all of that. Zeekr is getting stronger here, no question. BMW still starts from a position of deeper institutional trust. So is the new Chinese electric SUV better than the totally new BMW 800-volt architecture EV SUV? The honest answer is yes in some ways, and not yet in others. If your definition of better is faster charging drama, stronger warranty optics, a very rich premium-feeling cabin, huge headline performance, and the sense that you're getting a lot of visible car for the money, then the Zeekr 7X has a real case. It is not a symbolic rival. It is a legitimate one. But if your definition of better includes deeper product identity, more disciplined integration of technology into the act of driving, a stronger sense of brand continuity, and the possibility that the whole ownership experience may feel more coherent over years rather than months, then the BMW iX3 Neue Klasse still has a very powerful answer. This is not a case where the old brand is obviously superior and the newcomer is merely ambitious. Nor is it a case where the newcomer simply wipes the floor with legacy Europe. It is much more interesting than that. The Zeekr is making the old premium assumptions fragile. The BMW is trying to prove they still rest on something real. My verdict is this. The Zeekr 7X is the more disruptive buy. It is the one that most directly forces people to ask whether they are paying too much for the old badge logic. It is the one that most strongly proves Chinese EVs are now capable of delivering not just technical credibility, but real premium seriousness. But the BMW iX3 Neue Klasse is still the more significant engineering statement. It is the one that tries to answer not just the EV question, but the BMW question. How do you make an electric SUV feel like the beginning of a new era without losing the soul of the brand? If BMW delivers on that promise in the real world, the iX3 may still be the stronger long-term product. If Zeekr delivers on its promise, though, then a lot of buyers are going to discover that the comfortable old hierarchy no longer protects legacy brands from scrutiny. And that, more than anything, is why this comparison matters. Because it shows that in 2026, premium electric SUV buyers are no longer choosing between the obvious leader and the clever outsider. They are choosing between two serious visions of what the next benchmark might be. If you enjoyed this comparison, subscribe to the EV Expert. Tell me in the comments whether you would choose the BMW iX3 Neue Klasse or the Zeekr 7X. And stay tuned for more honest deep dives into the biggest EV battles of 2026.